Hello everyone. Today let's go over a medium that I just solved on my own a couple seconds ago actually. This one I was pretty surprised about because I kept getting it wrong, but I noticed that you could use the difference array technique and the question was a little confusing, so I kind of confirmed my suspicions with this comment and then was able to solve it. So pretty happy about that, and let's read it. So essentially what you want to do is you're given an integer array, you want to return a boolean true false. And for each range, basically decrement everything in that by 1 and do that for each subarray. So 1 to 3 minus 1 to everything, and then 0 to 2 minus 1 to everything. And at the end, if every element is less than or equal to 0, that's the thing that didn't mention, because here it's 0 minus 1, 0 if you do this. So for example, 1, 0, 1. If you decrement this by 1, you get this. If you decrement it by 1, you get -1 and 0. That's actually not 0, 0, 0, but it's less than 0, so it still counts. So pretty simple as long as you know what the difference array technique is. So we're going to originally create an array of 0, 0, 0 and go through each query. So the 0th index is the start and this is the end. So the difference array technique goes this -1 to the start, and then +1 to the end, +1 if it exists, n plus 1 is 3. Index 3 doesn't exist here because index is 0, 1, 2. So that means that this is how it is. And then when you accumulate this, you get -1, -1, -1, which lines up with what we see because you just subtract 1 from each element here. And then when we do that, we get 1 plus -1 is 0, 0 plus -1 is -1. And then 1 plus -1 is 0, and that's true because everything is less than or equal to 0, right? Let's go through this example. 4, 3, 2, 1. We would create a difference array of like this, and then you would say 1 and 3. So we want to decrement 0, and then 3 plus 1 doesn't exist, 0, 1, 2, 3. So if it did, then we would do like a +1 here, but it doesn't. So we can accumulate it. And then here for 0 and 2, that becomes -1, which is a starting point, index 0, 0, 0. This time it does exist, so we're going to add 1 to it because 0, 1, 2, the other one +1. So when you accumulate it, you get -1, -1, -1, 0. So that lines up with -1. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus. So this is -2 because this is actually -1. And then this is going to be. This is still -2. I did this incorrectly. So -1, -2, -2, and then -1, right? Because 1 minus 1 is 0. This is accumulated into this, and then you just take the original array, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you just add every element to form a new array, and then make sure that every single element is less than or equal to 0. If it is, return true, otherwise return false. So here it's not because 3, 1, 0, 0, we have numbers that are bigger than 0, so return false, right? So if we know that, let's go ahead and code it up. Let's call this results is 0 times length of nums. So just making a 0 array of the same length as the input. And then going over the queries. And we're going to call this start and end, which is going to be Q0, Q1. So 0th index of each sublist and the first index of each sublist. And results of start minus equal to 1 because we're subtracting. And then if n plus 1 is less than length of results as 0, 1, 2, as with here, or as with here. Wait, what am I talking about? So trying to show you an example because, for example, 3 would be plus equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's what this is. If that's the case, then results n plus 1 plus equal to 1 because we want to offset the -1 to that subarray because we're decrementing the entire subarray. And then let's print the result. And we're not done yet because now we have to accumulate it, right? So p equals list itertools dot accumulate result, and this is where the actual prefix takes effect. And now we can add everything. So for I, n, and enumerate nums of I, because it's the same length as the input, nums of I, p is the same length as the input, plus equals to p of I, and let's print nums. And then now we just have to make sure every element is less than or equal to 0. So if n is bigger than 0, then that's already false. We can return false. Otherwise, if everything is less than or equal to 0, return true at the end, right? So there you go. Not the most efficient, but again, this was my own solution. It does pass all the test cases, so I'm pretty happy about that. Hopefully this made sense. Let's try for a better runtime. Okay, tiny bit better. Either way, if you know the difference array technique works, I think this is pretty easy. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.